How do you install the HVAC for the new construction house with a basement? It's a split gas unit, so it's a furnace, a coil, a condenser outside. We've got a set of vented gas logs for this foam house. We're going to talk about installation characteristics for those vented gas logs. Today's video is just going to be going through this new construction house and talking about the install of the HVAC. So if you're building a house, you're a homeowner building a house, maybe this will give you some insight. If you're an HVAC technician or an installer and you're just curious of how the ductwork should be laid out for it to look the best and perform the best, today's going to be a good video. Before we start today's video, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell, ding, so you know what I'm doing. If you have a question, put that in the comments. I will answer your question. And if you don't have a question, that's okay. Let me know who you are and where you're from. Before we start the video, I have to tell you, if you want help with your project, you want tech support, click the join button, become a member. Let me know in the comments, say I joined. I'll give you my email and I'll help you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this new construction house and the layout of the HVAC equipment. So first things first, before we go in, look at that nice vent there. That is a vent coming from an insert for the gas logs, and it's vented. Why is it vented? Well, you can get unvented and vented. Vented is mostly for looks because, of course, the heat goes up the vent and out the roof. And unvented, some of that heat could be used, but you're losing it. Because it's foam, we have this little fresh air kit coming in, providing fresh air. Because of course, when you run this set of gas logs, you're displacing the oxygen in the home. And here's the vent. Look at this vent. Look how much space is in between the inside and the outside pipe. I think this is 10 inch, this is 8 inch. And that insulation keeps this outer pipe from getting hot. So the inner pipe is the only one that gets hot. So that's a double wall vent there. So we've got some gas line coming in, and that is trac pipe. So it's that corrugated steel with that outer covering. Really easy to run this pipe. That's where our fresh air is coming into that fireplace. Definitely need that since you have a foam house. It's nice because it's underneath this deck here and it's out of sight, kind of, you don't have to see it. So that's another thing. See, that's the vent that goes up to that fireplace. This is our trac pipe. Why is trac pipe my choice for installing gas line? I love trac pipe because let's say we had to run a line in this wall and we had an elbow here. If we have an elbow there and it's black iron, we would have to weld that, or we would have to leave an access door for that fitting. That way you don't have a leak, something happens, it could be catastrophic, and that's why codes say that either A, it's got to be continuous, so we've got to weld that black iron fitting onto that pipe and then we can cover it up, or we have to have an access. With trac pipe, super easy to install, flexible, you can bend it, you don't have to have an elbow, a fitting like that. So that's one reason I like trac pipe. The first floor of this home is 2,000 square foot, and that means the basement is 2,000 square foot as well. This right here is the main return, and above the return, of course, we have our thermostat wire. This is where our control is going to be for the HVAC equipment, and that grill is 24 by 36. So we've got about 800 square inches, which is 4 tons. We're installing a 5-ton unit. It's got about 2,000 CFM in air quantity, and I'm going to have 26-inch vents. So I calculate one 6-inch vent for about 100 CFM. So that's going to be perfect for this 5-ton unit. Upstairs, you've got about 13 6-inch vents. Downstairs, you got about 7. Now, this house is foam. I'm going to show you right here. See this? This is foam, and because you can push it and it's soft, it's open cell foam. If you want to know the difference between open cell and closed cell, I've got a video on my playlist, HVAC tips for homeowners, on standard insulation versus foam insulation, and then also the difference between open cell and closed cell. So check that out. Now let's go downstairs. Let's take a look at the ductwork layout. But before we do that, let's go take a look. I think this is going to be the pantry, because this is going to be the kitchen area, and this is where our return is coming up here. Quite a large box. We build all square duct, and it's insulated with a 1-inch liner on the inside. I think for acoustics and sound, it's just much better. This is the basement. We've got floor truss. All of our lines are up in the floor truss. There's 2 foot of floor truss, which is really nice. So see that ductwork up in the floor truss there. Here's the equipment. This is the mechanical room. There's the load center right there, the breaker panels. This is a 100% modulating gas furnace made by York. Indoor coil, EEV valve, and we've got an outdoor variable capacity unit made by York. We've got our return duct coming underneath the furnace and then on the side of the furnace. That way we have enough return, and then our supply comes straight out of the top. Look at that cool transition. So again, the only thing that was below the trusses was this return right here, and you can see where they framed out this wall going into this bedroom that's going to be conditioned, and then it goes through here, and then they were able to put another return downstairs so that we have our full 1,000 square inches of return, because of course for 5 tons you need 1,000 square inches, so that's going to be a 20 by 20, so that gives us well over 1,000. So you can see that right there is the return duct, and then it goes up into that box that you saw on the first floor. Really nice. They did an awesome job on this. Sealed everything up so nicely. And then you can see this is our boots right here. See the boots? So when your duct system looks like this, then it's okay to have an open ceiling to where you can see the ductwork because it looks really nice. But if you had to put a ceiling in, a drop ceiling, depending on your height, you could run the ductwork below the truss, but this just gives you more room. And then of course, if you had an open ceiling, it looks nice. Got our fresh air and our exhaust pipe from our furnace out to an eccentric vent. See those 2 pipes? They come over and then they go into one vent. See that? I'll show you that outside. And also, this is our gas line. You see that's black iron there. And then they've got a manifold, and that manifold has 2 shutoff valves. One line goes to the fireplace and the other line goes to the stove. And then we've got black iron 1/2 inch coming to our gas furnace. Really nice install. Super impressive. It would be nice to get lights in here. Let's go outside, let's take a look. You want to learn more about sizing ductwork, installing ductwork, become a member. I've got member-only videos that teach you how to install ductwork, how to size ductwork. If you're interested in that, go become a member, join, and then you'll have access to those videos, and then you'll have my email so you can ask me questions if you have questions while you're watching those videos. There's some 1/2 inch track pipe for our stove that's going to be right here. This right here is where the generator is going to be installed. This is where our outdoor unit is going to be installed. We got a number 6 wire coming out because the outdoor unit's about 50 amps for max overcurrent protection. There's the concentric vent so that you don't have 2 penetrations outside of the home. You've got 1. This is where your exhaust would leave this pipe, and then this is where your fresh air will be pulled in. There's our riser where our meter is going to be installed. We've got the pressure test on our gas line. We'll fax that pressure test in, and then the gas company will come verify and then set the meter. Something that's really nice during the install, we have these plates we put over all of our boots where the floor register is going to be, so that during the construction process, all of this dust you see, all this wood chip here, doesn't go inside of the branch ducts. We don't want that. Short cycling is something that I want to avoid, especially when I have a customer who is insulating their home with foam insulation. Short cycling is when an equipment runs for a very short period of time and then cycles off, and that's not good or ideal for a foam insulated house because of course it's closed up tight like an envelope, and you don't need equipment running for 5 minutes and then shutting back off, especially when the humidity levels are so high. You may need a dehumidifier if you're going to choose to go with 14 SEER single stage equipment that runs at 100%, but I employ in foam houses, especially variable capacity equipment. It's very easy to maintain temperature in a foam house. Say we set the thermostat to 70 and then it gets to 70 degrees and it shuts off. How long do you think it's going to take for that home to change temperature? There is no thermal loss. There is no infiltration. There's very little, maybe around the doors, maybe around the windows. But if you did a good job during the construction process as a good contractor, then you don't have much infiltration in a foam house. So I need equipment that runs at a very, very low capacity to maintain temperature and has more runtime, saves me more electricity than equipment that just runs at 100%. Because how long do you think it would take for a fully enveloped, very well insulated house with no infiltration, air in and out, to get to temperature? It wouldn't take very long. So I always admonish the customer, go with variable capacity equipment if you have a foam house, and then also get a little bitty $200 dehumidifier with a built-in pump. Put it in the basement if you don't have a basement. Put it maybe in your crawl space if you have a big enough crawl space, and then pump the water out. And then set it for something like 55 or 60. That way you never have to worry about humidity issues. With variable capacity equipment, that longer run time, especially during the summer, is going to help to dehumidify more. It's going to help to move air and keep the comfort levels high, and then keep the mold and bacteria growth down. So variable capacity equipment, definitely think about that when you are planning on insulating your home with foam insulation. That's why I use Samsung too. I love Samsung's variable capacity equipment. Check out Samsung, check out York. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, you know where to put those, and I'll be looking. Thank you so much for watching. You've been watching HVAC tips for homeowners / technicians. Really appreciate you watching. I'll keep you cool if you let me.